Now, she's truly a dynamic woman and is determined to shatter all kinds of stereotypes. She is the MP-elect of Tema Central. Has risen to prominence through the arts and is about to make her way into policy, advocacy, and politics. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Ebi Bright is here. Hi, Ebi.
Good morning, AJ.
First and foremost, your lipstick is everything, by the way. Like I'm digging the red.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, AJ.
Like it's been a tough couple of weeks, I'm sure.
Yes, you should congratulate not just me, but all of Tema Central.
No, honestly,
yeah.
They decided to show up and show out, and truly made a mark, really.
Yeah.
But what do you think was the winning? At what point do you know that, Charlie, I think I'm going to win this election?
When I started to have access to Tema Central. I've been doing this for a long time.
Yes.
You know, since 2015 actively. And when you start, you think that just the fact that you're an area girl, you know, you're a bona fide Tema girl that it appears everybody loves. I mean, the political scene is a whole different conversation, and it wasn't easy, it wasn't simple to be accepted from the beginning, but at some point people start to request to meet you, to listen to you, to engage you, you know. And unlike you know, previous times when they call you and they get disappointed and say, hey, we thought you were going to share money for us, because you know that's the culture, and I'm sorry, you know, this is not what I'm about. Yeah. So I decided to stick it through, you know, not take the easy way out. And when people understood that I was about the conversation and, you know, about the relationship, and they asked for that, we said they'll you know, ask to see you and say, look, we have a few things we want to discuss with you. We have a few things we want you to look at for us. That's when I knew. Yes, but really also a lot of my campaign was focused on meeting small groups, so that the conversations were more personal, they were more tailored to, you know, relevance, because Tema Central is a very diverse community. I know that people assume, oh, it's all Tema, nicely built up with roads and everything, but it's a complex of industry and residents. So you can't be speaking just to one demographic. And recently we've had an influx of I would call them a transient population that are looking to be permanent, you know, if the promise that Ghana gives in terms of an industrial city is realized. So we have a lot of slums, and these are coming from everywhere else. And you invoke the history of Tema Central and say, but none of us came here because this is where we hail from.
True.
We all came here as workers, you know.
For the Ghanaian dream.
Yes, and Tema is the Ghanaian dream, you know, this dream that says, look, we're having a whole city where it's about employment and it's about the social infrastructure to sustain productive, you know, and healthy lives for you and your families. And people are still holding on to this dream. So I think that if we make it real in Tema Central, we've made it real for Ghana.
I like that. Now, it took you a few tries to finally break way and then become MP for it. I'd like to start from where the dream started. At what point did you say, you know what, I want to go to Parliament? I want to help create policy that would affect and help the people of Tema Central.
Very interestingly, I would say it was totally by accident. I loved to, you know, advocate. I'm a development communicator by profession. So I'm a glorified social worker. So you're always advancing a cause. I love working with marginalized groups and fighting against any kind of oppression. But I didn't believe that the political route was the way to go. I had a very unhealthy suspicion of politicians.
Really?
And that whole political space. Yeah, I thought that there was a lot of posturing, you know, as opposed to the need for substance. You know, people go and donate like 2 packs of water, and there's a whole media, and then behind it, I'm like, look, you're relating to your relatives and your neighbors. Today need this is so undignified. And so I fought against that part of it. And so for me, throughout the political journey, I tried. I think I was a bit media shy. It might not have been very helpful. Later on, I realized that we needed to let people see, you know, the dynamics of what we're doing. But back to, at what point did I decide I wanted to go to Parliament? I was enlightened by some chance where it says, look, who's going to do it? You think these people are thieves, they're this, they're not giving enough. What about you and all your friends that are sitting and criticizing? You know, because I had many friends who tried as individuals and as, corporate entities to make a difference, but they're always being defeated at the policy level by bureaucracy, by the direction of the country. And, that essentially frustrates them. They eventually give up.
Yes.
So I said, what if some of us were in there and making, the conditions that will allow even private individuals to make a contribution meaningfully to us. And so this is why I stepped in. But incidentally, it was by invitation, because over the years, I'd done a lot of communication consultancy for socialist aligned parties. I'd worked with the CPP. So it was just like an ideological exercise. But my family was decidedly NDC. But because I wasn't interested in active politics, it didn't really make a difference to me. And then the CPP approached me and said, look, come and stand for us. And so that was exciting to think about. Say, yeah, maybe you could make a difference. But then, it was just going to be an ideological pursuit, because it wasn't a strong, structure that could sustain any meaningful campaign. Forgive my accession, but basically that's how it was. And so somehow, through pressure from my mother, who I will dare say is fanatically NDC, I had to take this seriously. And so we engaged the process of standing for the NDC. Incidentally, in Tema Central at that time, nobody was interested. So at the close of nominations, we didn't have a candidate. And so by providence, I stepped into that role initially. So that was 2015.
Yes.
And you start to discover the ways in which engagement of the community for a politician is totally different from just the residents, which I was very proud to be up until that point. Now there's a certain weight of responsibility on you.
Yes.
Even if everybody says, oh, you're not going to win, this is a pipe dream, there's still that responsibility that you carry, because you must address every issue now with a certain sense of seriousness.
Yes.
And that's where it began.
That's amazing. And like, I'm seeing different parts and I don't even know where to start from, because by sheer providence, because honestly, do you or did at that point in time, was it because they knew that NDC cannot at any point win the seat, so nobody was even willing to throw in their hat into the ring? Yes,
I dare say this, and I will say now that I'm very grateful for the attention and the support I'm receiving from my party today, because it was unexpected, but it was necessary, totally necessary. Tema Central was a seat that they'd all but giving up on, and this reflected even in the way that I was treated. To be told time and time again, even by the party and people that were in authority, that look, you know what, we can't be bothered with your issues, because Tema Central is impossible. Tema Central is impossible. And I'll tell you this very honestly, I felt insulted, not for myself, but also for the people of Tema Central, to be classified. Yes. To be classified in that manner. And so because people say, Udia Ponchibakra, MPP dear, your party, and you don't give us a chance. I think that love requires you to fight, and I felt that the NDC owed the people of Tema Central a fight to demonstrate to them that they were worth saving, because the dominance of the NPP hadn't been profitable to us all this while. And if you just give people things on a silver platter, they tend to take you for granted.
That's true.
As we speak today, people are already giving me pressure about, you have to perform, you have to serve your people, otherwise this is conditional. And this is what people need when they're in service, to feel the heat, to not get too comfortable. I think the NPP had gotten too comfortable, and the NDC couldn't be bothered. But I'm glad that I stuck it through. And, people like to say, oh, Ebi, you persisted and you've been strong and you've been steadfast. But they do not see the people that were behind me through this process. My family and, I wouldn't say and friends, my family and fellow comrades and compatriots, and just people within the community that were determined that something should be different. They've lost a lot. If you stand from since 2015, we've been classed as the losers. And every time you lose, it's a painful process, because you would have given up so much to get to that point, and you have to recover. And this is an environment that is very vindictive, because before I stood up and identified as NDC, gung-ho NDC. I mean, they had no cause to come after me, but subtly you lose a lot before the recovery. And that's why I knew this time was different. Because suddenly, people who said, my NDC, those people will welcome you with a smile.
Wow.
Now, and say, oh, sister, Meshiauda. And then I think that behind the Meshiauda is the hope that you don't remember how bad the initial meeting was. Yes. But I love Tema Central, and the opportunity to serve them is, I mean, that's what I've been fighting for since 2015. Need I say more?
And 9 years down the line, it's finally paid off. I mean, how many people can actually go into a process for 10 years, basically? And you personify that. But now let's talk about the monetization of politics.
Yeah.
In Ghanaian politics, at least, especially in the constituency level, it's become a hand-go, hand-come sort of transaction. People expect you to buy their votes. People expect you to come there and give them something. People will go and do for you and expect you to pay them at the end of the day. Even though you are thinking, I'm trying to help you. Aren't you going to help me? How did you surmount this?
You've expressed this so perfectly, because I would have said to you, look, people are begging to be bought. And that's where the real tragedy. But you see, I'm a development communicator. So I'm trained to appreciate the political, socio-economic environment, every time. And so I'm not looking only from my point of view. I mean, if I'd come into this completely untrained, I would be really offended. And I was, to a certain extent, because you're patient enough to try and explain to people, this is not going to help us. But they're determined. They said, no. One old woman said to me, me tofu. Ubaya sorry na uhuye me fese na ukasa yenso ye me fe but me tofu. Eya wonnam door to door fa bag bi. And saying, and you want to make mommy paper away. Say, me name Busia for young cocaine. Fabibi can Sunday, I mean, she's so passionate. I spent 30 minutes trying to give her a hug and saying, look, the things that we're talking about are important. Because you see, I'm your daughter who you're sending to Parliament. But my job is to go and advocate so that the one with you at home can have better conditions and take better care of you. I don't want to pass by, once in a year and give you a piece of cloth, or pass by your house just today and say, vote for me, take 200 CDs. I need to be able to serve you long term, because I know you're concerned about your children and grandchildren, and the fact that this Tema, as it is now, is not offering us any opportunities, which we deserve, by the way, because you had them. They don't want to listen. But it's a conditioning that's happened over time. And I guess that when you're running for office, it's not the right time to talk about this too.
People don't want the truth.
Absolutely. But it's something that we might have to come together for the sake of the nation and talk about. It's acculturation, but it's coming from the mindset of poverty, where you see in the West they're ahead because they take pride in their work. For us here, we take pride in what we have access to by way of knowing somebody, but we need to get into the consciousness of being the work ourselves. So it's a real issue. But I don't think that it's only in politics. You see, the political season just highlights what is, brewing in our communities. And you find it everywhere. Which agency do you walk into and you don't have to drop something to get service that people are paid for?
Yes.
I mean, in the hospitals. And I say to them every time, I said, look, these are you and I that will describe ourselves as poor people. So you know how it feels not to be able to afford this. So if you don't have enough empathy, what do you expect? I would usually use Akufo-Addo as, this is the guy who, still is the guy up there. I said, well, how do you expect Akufo-Addo to treat you? You know how it is not to be able to afford a meal. And then your kid is ill in a cash and carry system. And then people come before you in the hospital and you're not able to, treat them with empathy. Do you think the guy up there who has no idea what it feels like should feel pity for you? So we need to engage this as more of a lifestyle issue than a political issue, because it's not only in politics, in the social space. People complain, police people are standing on the road and they're collecting 20 cedis. And I said, to be honest with you, I don't have any problem with any policeman who says, oh, sister is weekend. Because you've got boys in your area who are not even in uniform standing under the sun for your sake. And they expect to take something from you with no reason. At least the policeman is standing there and you know that for somehow he's enforcing the law. And so culturally, as we've built it up, maybe it's encouragement. But what about people who have nothing to do with anything? And just because
they have access.
Yes, just because they can meet you, they expect you to dole out something. So it's something that is more organic and deserves, just, we won't relegate it to politics and money for votes and all of those things. But I did suffer a lot of that because unfortunately, this same culture means that in any sector, whether politics or anywhere, deep pockets will buy out the space. Yes. And so I think that is responsible for a few of the losses, but you also have to be determined enough for the soul of the nation, of your people, and your own integrity to stick it out. I have believed all these years that good will triumph over evil if you keep the faith. And I think Tema Central is an example of that.
I love that. If you're just tuning in, I'm having a wonderful conversation with MP-elect of Tema Central, the wonderful Ebi Bright. Come January 7th, she'll be sworn into Parliament and the real work will begin. But speaking of the work, at what point, and I'm sure you may have had one or two, did you say, I can't do this anymore?
No point.
At all?
No.
There was never, even after the loss, you're like, nah, we're still going, next 4 years.
Yeah, after the loss, you're more concerned about, you see, along this journey, I mean, you miss a lot of calls, you miss a lot of personal things. Your family, like I said, make a lot of sacrifices. And in 2020, just less than 3 weeks before elections, we were basically homeless because they come and set explosives under my cars, burnt all the cars and the house.
Wait. It
was all over the news. Come on, babe.
How did I miss that?
Because I didn't make a lot of fuss about it. It hurt people more than it did me. I mean, I decided to go on this journey. We'd had things that led up to that, so but decidedly not as catastrophic. So we ran elections basically homeless, carless, and all of that. It hurts a lot of people, and people think that how can you go on after this? They don't expect you to. They feel that you must be incredibly selfish to continue when they're hurting. There's a lot of trauma. I don't know how my mother got through it. She can barely walk. My son was 3 months old. I was, breastfeeding, and all of these things. And so it causes a lot of problems. I mean, in my marriage and, my family, and they think, why do you put us...
going?
Yeah, why? What is it? For something that is impossible. They think it's impossible. That's the most difficult part of it. They think it's impossible. The party thinks it's impossible. People that love you think that it's so impossible that they love you enough to be angry, with you and at you. Yes. And so it's a very difficult place to be. And then when you're in this situation where you're basically on the ground, I mean, you're as flat as could be. Where do you begin from? And, by the end of every election cycle, you're depleted. Your business has suffered, from neglect and from, a lack of custom, from a lot of things, and then you're emotionally drained. Even the political process drains you in the first place, and don't forget that it was accompanied by a general loss for my party, which is something that you mourn by itself, and so all of this, there's hardly anyone to hold on to, and all the people that you would hold on to ordinarily
are also dealing with their own.
Yes, they are, but most of all, for me, my original social circle was full of unbelievers. So originally you're even marginalized from these people because you were one of them who didn't believe in politics. They're looking at you with suspicion. Has AP lost, her heart? Has she become one of them? Has, there are a lot of things. And, it was a very difficult place, and a lot of people to say, "Oh, you can't see," and so there's a whole. And don't forget, if you're in a constituency that is not a stronghold for your party, it's also a highly compromised space. So even those who identify as being your comrades are usually double dealing, and I mean, I don't want to go into all of that, but it's something that we need to look at. But as the party gets stronger in any area, more desirable elements emerge into the space, and it gets easier for us. But this is all I've had to go through, and even at that point, I didn't think about giving up for myself, because I don't know, but life maybe prepared me. There are so many things that happened along the course of my life before politics that I somehow, detested and decried, and I felt that I had gone through too much pain for no reason. But eventually you realize that was the building of a character that could withstand what you needed to be able to serve a place as complex as Tema Central. So today, a lot of things I take in stride, and people don't understand, but it's come from life. I'd had to deal with marginalization for a long time. I've had to deal with trying to figure out how to choose your battles. I've had to deal with minimizing myself and my persona in many instances just to, avoid direct attacks. I've learned to hide and know when to resurface. So I'm just thankful, really. I'm thankful that all of my past really makes sense, considering where I'm sitting or standing at the moment. Yeah.
I love that. Now let's talk about your life prior to politics. You were a celebrated actress. I remember seeing a few of your movies, and I found you so gorgeous on screen. And you are still in person.
Thank you.
But when you came on as fresh face when you started off in the industry, and a burst of fresh air, and you sort of sustained an incredible career out of drama. Just come in, do my work, and then go, sort of persona. Right. And I loved that. But let's start all the way from the beginning. At what point, what inspired you to go into the arts, into the creative arts and acting?
I wouldn't say that anything did, and that's why I feel, this hand of providence. I was born in Nigeria to Ghanaian parents. I was born in Abuja, and from the age of 3, I was on TV. So I started the first emission of NTA Abuja. Started with my show, which was Zuma Kids. So I was the first presenter for pioneer, basically star of NTA Abuja, and so I presented TV for maybe 9 years, and then so I grew up in Nigeria, in the States, and then my mother moved us back to Ghana. And I was a bit lost because here's a whole totally different environment, that's TV star, and I was also a celebrated hairdresser, so people, because my mom had this hairdressing salon, and so apart from being a TV star, people used to come from all over the country to come and watch me do hair.
Wow.
I mean, but of course, it wasn't in the days of this TikTok and social media, so it was just a
TV.
TV, and so even school wasn't very consistent for me, but I was incredibly good academically, so
you could get it done.
Yeah, I could get away with not even schooling. And so then you come to Ghana, where from extreme wealth, a very wealthy environment, you move into the ghetto here, and it just was a different ballgame. Now, from being in the arts just because you get into it being an avenue where you can earn a few coins, so it's doing backup music, creating jingles, we did a lot of work. Those days, Sammy B, we used to rap reggae, raga together, but I was doing a lot in church, so my family, it was basically our whole foundation was church. And so I was like a church
girl all the way through.
Church girl, church musician. And then by 2000, I had my first partial lung collapses, developed lung disease. And so I lost my singing voice. And this is what, I would do backups and all of that. But throughout that period, the arts didn't seem like a viable career path. And I'd always been a thinker because I was addicted to books. So I like to say that I had developed all my diction and my education by 11. And after that, you don't really have that. I didn't really have the space to read or to learn. And, there were many years I didn't go to school. But that's another whole different conversation. So that was another pain. Basically, you lose your voice. You get this husky timbre from, doing everything, and very disappointing. Also, schooling was a challenge for me, and all of that. But somehow I plodded along. But then it made me see, like I said, that the arts wasn't a viable career path, because the guys that you look up to going on TV, rapping, singing, they were looking for coins for trotro, and for me it was and this didn't seem like all the things that you aspire to. So I was decided that this way, no, I wasn't going to pursue. I mean, eventually I went to school, I studied management, and traveled, and just basically got my life on a different track. But don't forget the Nigerian connection.
Yeah.
So there's this producer, Frank Raja. So we met on a journey. I think I was coming from Lagos or Togo. I was living in Togo for a while. So we met coming back to Accra. We got talking. So he says, "Oh, I'm doing a film in Ghana." So I said, "Okay, I'll come by the set and visit you." So I did, and I supported them with a few logistics and stuff, the guns and cars and stuff.
Okay.
And somehow he just said, "Oh, Ebi, this your haircut, eh? See, just stand like this, hold gun like this, do like this." And that was the game.
No.
Yes. So it was unscripted totally, and then we basically came up with the script as that's on
our Facebook stream. So if you're wondering what we're talking about, it's live on our Facebook stream now.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Yes.
So that was the haircut, and the car was driving, and those clothes I was already wearing when I came to visit them.
Like, just yeah, perfect. Let's go.
Chewing. I'm not sure I was even holding the gun properly. I didn't know nothing, but I just had fun, and I totally forgot about it. So I was in Europe a few months later. Somebody said, "You acted Ghana film." I said, "Me, I'm not an actress. Maybe the person looks like me." But basically, that was the game. And then after that, everybody said, the assassin, come and come and do like this in my movie. Come and do like this.
And that's how it started. Oh my goodness.
So basically, it was totally by accident. And all through, by the time I did like 10, 15 movies, I was still saying, no, I'm not an actress. Because
I just happened to be here.
Yes, but eventually 32 movies later, so like I said, it wasn't ever a career. It was just something that I had the opportunity to enjoy. But I realized that for everything else that I've done, because a lot of my work is private, is either, consultancy, you're doing your working papers, you're dealing with international development organizations, and then with marginalized communities on sensitive issues like HIV, AIDS, poverty, stuff that require discretion and protection of people's identities and, and dignity. So a lot of the work that I do is not public, and the advocacy and all of that. Yeah. So I haven't developed the exhibitionist part of
yourself.
Yeah, also the politics, and having had the background of the arts from a very tender age, I think that I just kind of took it in stride. So if you notice, one of the most difficult things for me after doing so many movies was the celebrity lifestyle. I mean, dress up and go, out. Where I'm a very homebound, home-oriented person. So I've never really been a celebrity. I'm more into the thinking part of it. I would critique a script, I would critique the working conditions. As I sit on set, I'm thinking, how much are these people making? There's no dignity to this thing that these people are providing so much joy, but I don't think they're earning enough, this and that. These are the things that have always concerned me. And so for me, I think that being in the arts or being an artistic person is a privilege. Maybe God didn't design that as a career for me, but it privileged me to be in a position to feel the pain of having to make a difference, specifically because I know what it is like there. So this is it. This is how the journey has been. So getting into politics was not exchanging one career path like acting for politics. It was a progression rather of my social and political activity in the social space morphing into active politics. Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. So So you are, if you're just tuning in, I'm having an amazing conversation with one and only Ebi Bright, celebrated actress, MP-elect for Tema Central. If you want to send in questions, you can 0532 300 927. But now let's talk about family and how that influenced a lot of your decisions over the years, especially your mum. She basically strong-armed you to say, you know what, if you're going to do politics, you have to do NDC. But tell me about your mum and her influence over your career path over the last few years.
Well, my name is Ebi Bright because I use my mother's surname. I mean, my father has not been, he's not even interested in influencing that. My husband will stay out of that because she's just a wonderful, beautiful person. I remember how many years I've had to, sorry, I need to get hanky or something. How many years, and I say this, I don't know if she would usually be listening. I don't know if this morning she knows where I am. But for many years, I resented the fact that she treated me like I was a sacrifice. You know, I felt like I was called upon to be the last person that was considered in any situation. I felt like, you know, she treated me like I was the sacrifice. Everything about me is about other people. You know, that she will make me feel responsible for taking care of everybody else before myself.
Because she knew you'd figure it out.
Yeah, I think that she did a lot, you know, in her own small way to build people up. And I think that she might have seen in me the opportunity to reach a lot further than she did. And I used to resent that, you know. But she forced me to where she used to call me my survivor. Survivor, that was the word. And I said, this being a survivor mean that there's nothing for me. But I think that she was, and she is, a solid instrument of God. Because times I've not been able to pray for myself, to be able to find the strength for this thing that I know I must do. It's not only about politics, it's just about basically the way I live my life. And she taught me how to make much of nothing. She is a woman of very simple tastes and personal aspirations. She's just a giver. She's a mother. I don't think that her children are more special than everybody else's children. And I'm saying nobody does that. I'm your daughter. I have to be more special. But that's who she is. She will challenge me today. Like if I say, I'm not going here because I don't have money, mommy. She say, how much? And then she'll reach into her this thing and say, can I give you 2,000? So she's been one of my main sponsors through this process. And the one who has felt more pain than anybody else, you know. But she's the one who says, you have to do this. She's the one who reminds me, you have to make sure that you can build toilets here. And tell me all the things that they used to do in the past in Tema to redirect corporate social responsibility to, you know, societal issues. So she, for me, is the Miss Tema. And it's in her honor. She refuses to move from Tema. Wow. She refuses to move from her house. You know, she's with me a lot, but she would want to stake her claim on her small community where she is. And I think for her sake, you know, I've had to make a commitment to Tema because I probably love her more than a lot that I can talk about. And so she embodies my commitment to Tema. She's my love, and I must continue the tradition, but every generation must add on. So I guess I'm just amplifying a lot of what she's been. So I want to thank her. My dad is of that school that is wary of politicians. I think that right now we're just funny to him. Well, somehow he has the bucks that could really have made a difference in my politics, but he's not interested. For many years, that had been, you know, a huge problem, and one of the only things that have made me consider stepping away maybe, but I couldn't quite make that decision. And I hope, because he's that voice behind me that speaks to conscience. My mother has blind faith in me. She knows her daughter that she raised. You won't catch me in anything funny. But my dad feels it's his responsibility to make sure that you are not one of those who bring shame to us. I mean, he invokes Kwame Nkrumah every day, and somehow, all the highest standards. And so these are the people behind me. My husband is also being a force. From beginning, he felt that the sacrifices that I was making for politics were not helpful to the family. But right now, I tell you that he's my biggest champion.
Aww.
And he's fought so hard to make sure that I also have the opportunity to serve with what he knows that I carry. And so I want to thank him as well. My children are making a lot of sacrifices. My 4-year-old says, Mommy and Daddy don't have time for me.
Aww.
I feel alone. So we need to address all of that. But I just thank God. My brother was not interested in politics. Today, he's standing beside me because I think after 9-10 years, they realize
this is what she's meant to do.
They better hold me tight. So I just want to thank all of them. And there's been a community of friends as well who have allowed me the space to become public property, and also trying to come to terms with the fact that for good or bad, this is my path. Yeah.
That's amazing. And to have a support system that well, who are supporting you through it all, whether come hell or high waters, they're literally there in the thick and thin of it.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of you, what have been some of the biggest sacrifices you've made for your dreams?
Like I would say, my friends and family up until now, because this choice was not compatible with what we'd built up as a collective, and some of them also are on the other side. So I don't, but there's something with the thinking of those people that if you're not on that side, then you're wrong. And that's a bit offensive, but that's beside the point. But also, just the personal time, because I like to spend free time, braiding my niece's hair, just doing home stuff. And now home is not as simple. I always figured that I will be this mother that I was very involved in. Now, sometimes, a couple of times we've actually forgotten my son at school, having to look. But it's also the African thing where, the parents are not exclusive to the nuclear. And so I thank God that I have that cultural appreciation to be able to allow other people to come in to support me. It's just the lack of time for people who deserve your personal attention. I'm often sacrificing the personal for the public. Also, I'm a very private person by choice. So even though, once I'm a performer, so once I'm on the outside, I'm like an extrovert. I like to go back in and just, make it really quiet. I love my music and, just deep thinking. There's little time to think.
You're always
so
doing
much activity. Yeah, exactly. So that's something that I'm hoping I can find a way to recover, because that's what helps me be more productive. I guess that's it. I wish that I had more time for family.
I can imagine.
So that's the major sacrifice.
Now, we're entering into the Christmas season. What kind of Christmas traditions do you have as a family?
Well, I don't think that we have anything in particular. When I was little, Christmas used to be a special time for my dad and I, because my dad will, he works, he's an international guy and he's got a lot on his plate. But he used to always reserve Christmas for me.
Aww.
And so, as I've grown older, I'm the one who's, because of politics, doesn't have time to enjoy daddy's hugs for Christmas. So the tradition really is that Christmas is daddy's time.
Aww.
It's the time that he likes to treat us.
Everyone.
Yes, and take, particularly me. I'm his only
baby girl.
Yeah, so, and, for, like I said, I used to resent a lot of that, because for my mother it's an open house.
Everyone
so
comes to
there's
the
nothing
revolving
special.
door.
Yeah, but for my dad it's me time.
Aww.
My children have I guess they've been caught up in this politics. So, there's no me time for them. So I wouldn't say that there are any traditions that are standing at the moment, but your question has just reminded me that, yes, I have a bigger family now,
Yes,
Tema Central.
yes,
So I'd like to see what I can do for the children. But I would also like to figure out how to reclaim a little bit of the me time, for my family, just like my dad
used to
did
for
for me. Yes.
Have you even put up your tree yet?
No, I don't think we didn't do trees and stuff. We did music.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean this Christmas my dad was exhibiting, so I took up. I went with him. I mean, I was always his briefcase. So I went with him and I took over the band at the Nikon. At the Sheraton Hotel in Abuja.
Wow.
And just basically sang for the band. I mean, we break for 1 hour and I sing till evening, and he actually puts up with all that. So it was always a time of music. Right now, my favorite Christmas song is Shaggy's Jamaican Christmas. You know
really?
That one? Yeah, it's a remix of this drummer boy, or what?
The little drummer.
Yeah, little drummer boy. Yeah,
I love that.
It's a Jamaican remix of his. Yeah, it's just beautiful.
I'm going to put it on next.
Yeah,
I'm going to put it on
do.
next. So I'm sure you'd have something planned for the kids of Tema Central.
Oh, absolutely. So that's what I'm focused on now. We just have a few concerns about security. So we want to make sure with all the. I don't know, but I don't know how to describe it. But we want to also keep them safe, because right now it appears that I'm not the safest person in Tema Central. So we have to find a way to give a little bit of celebration to the kids. Incidentally, that was my biggest support base. Aww. The children, they know my name. They just. They support me, they follow me, and they pray for me.
Wow.
And so everybody said, oh, Ebi Bright, if it was the kids that were voting, then nobody will contest you. And so they deserve my love and attention. But I dare say a lot of what we're doing, you see, where we fail is when we feel that what we owe, the only things we owe society is, immediate benefits. But you need to be able to think far and put in policies that you might not be there to see. So for their sake, I'm hoping that we will pay attention to those things as well. Most of what I'm doing is about them.
I love that. Now, and you stated something. You're probably not the safest person to be around. Now, have you gotten scared in recent times with the amount of seeming threats?
Nah. I'm not scared.
I love you.
I'm only concerned for all the people that are as crazy as I am and stay put around me in spite of all of these things. I mean, God is taking us through a lot. I'm a woman of faith. I mean, and it's not because somebody's preaching to me. It's because from personal experience, I have gone through a lot.
How many death threats have you had?
I don't count. I can't be bothered. Oh, yeah. And I mean, actual situations. But look at me, I'm sitting here. Not a hair off my head touched. So, we've come through all of that. There have been a few casualties around me. But for their sake, we can't afford to give up also. And but this, I have a whole covenant with God now. He needs to keep everybody around me safe. I mean, beyond me, people around me must be safe, and I'm holding on to that. So we're not afraid. We're just concerned. I don't want to have a situation where, people are not safe because of me. And so that's what we're holding in prayer. And that's what we're also taking precautions around. But no matter what, we will have our celebrations and my kids will be happy.
I love that. Now here it is, Shaggy's Jamaican Drummer Boy.
in Tema.
This is a theme song.
Yeah, this one I have to make a slight. You see, when we talk about how we live Tema.
Yes.
You know, this whole Tema Central thing is a political jurisdiction and stuff. But
that Tema is Tema.
Tema is Tema.
I love it.
But the thing you asked about the personal traditions. Now, let me tell you about the Tema traditions.
Ooh, I want to hear.
Everybody comes home.
Okay.
Everybody comes home. So this one, you see everywhere. Well, no matter where we are in the world, we come home for Christmas.
I
And
love it.
I mean, those are some of my fondest memories. And I tell you, beyond all of us those of us who are resident permanently in Tema Central, who you get to see every day, you can get comfortable with how things are. But because of these people that come in, year out, you feel a certain sense of responsibility that they don't come home and look at you and say, Abba, Musu Diade. You know, we need to get Tema to work again, because a lot of the expectations come from them. The nostalgia of coming back home. I mean, Tema used to be beautiful. So we'll go to the beach together. And that's why I say it's a Tema thing. Because we'll travel from community 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 6, 10, 11, 12, and go all the way to, you know, the Sakumono beach or wherever. Charlie, it's all picnics and stuff.
Wow.
Shout outs to the Tema Connection folk.
Come
you know,
on.
there's a whole band of us, especially those that are coming from all over the world, and we're happy. Tema it's a family, you know. So wherever we are, it's this thing about home, and so that's our tradition.
I like
you
it.
need to experience it. And the kids and everybody is part of, like I said, family. You know, a family of friends, and you know, family friends, and that's what we have. And I think that we're going to enjoy it this Christmas as well.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. So yeah, that's that Christmas in Tema.
Christmas in Tema.
I like it a lot. I like it a lot.
I think this guy's Plan B. And incidentally, the GM was the independent candidate in Kakai. Yeah, but you know, incidentally, I stole his song. I mean, we call him Kakai, and I used Kakai to scatter my campaign. So big ups, brother. So yeah, all of us are gonna be together celebrating you know, Christmas. Is being championed by one of our senior brothers, Maxwell. We call him Kolonko. I mean, he started Miss Tema and all of that.
Wow.
All of us passed through that.
Yes.
So I mean, he's the godfather, and there are many more. I mean, there's Mauli, I mean, you know, Shadows. There's many of us in Tema.
So everyone's returning for a big fest.
Oh, absolutely. And don't forget the music stars that we've produced over time. So it's gonna be beautiful.
I know. I love it.
But just a disclaimer, this is not organized by me.
Oh no.
I mean, that's the ingenuity in Tema. Like, somebody and people always come up with stuff, and all we need to do is to amplify this and provide the appropriate environment, you know, policy-wise, infrastructure-wise, the attention that we need to get Tema moving again. And I promise you, there's no shortage of talents and fun in Tema.
Amazing. Amazing. And of course, I'm here with Ebi Bright, MP-elect Tema Central, soon to be the MP of Tema Central come January 7th, 2025. How do you... Okay, is there a big plan on Inauguration Day for you? Is there something you plan on doing, something you look forward to doing before you get into the Parliament House on that day?
Actually, no. I'm counting my promises, you know, the actual promises, and thinking timelines and how to get them running. For example, to get the MP's office running. And so maybe that's what we're inaugurating on Inauguration Day or soon after. You know, how to get the various plans and platforms running so that we can take off almost immediately, because a lot of these are preemptive. You're looking at how the government direction is going to go. And interestingly, the 24-hour economy, I'm thinking of like diving straight into that because it's all about industrialization. And
Tema is industrialization.
This is Tema. So you don't want it to happen without your active participation, and we have to be ready. So there's a lot of work to do to be ready to start for it. So Inauguration Day, I'm not sure. I mean, as a woman, I'm sure you think of, oh, do I have a white dress or something? You know what I mean? But beyond that, I really am not. I don't know. You know, these are stuff that we watch on TV. But as a politician, you know that the back end is a whole drama. You know, there's people to deal with. There's a whole structure to deal with. When you leave parliament and all that business, you have to come back home and deal with its responsibility. It's not fun, so even if people expect a party, that's your pocket and that's your structure organizing all of these things. So for me, it's about the work, but most importantly, all those plans that you outlined. It's the reason people from Tema Central told me straight up. They said, Ebi, where the ayo don kwa sika de wu ni bi wan chiche bi. Nensu ayo do ena ye de ato amao. Enti ye nim se wo ba be ye say we de mi we na me pe wo hu. Nsema o kan ye we ena me that kind of thing. And so that's what I'm thinking about. And you're praying, that the national direction is able to support these dreams and visions that you've espoused. And you're thinking of all the plan B, C, D to apply to actually get to that destination, even if it's not the primary, trajectory of the nation. So these are all the things. You're looking at alliances. You're happy that a lot of your friends and allies are also coming into parliament. You're thinking of how to lobby them and encourage them to support you. So these are the things. And you're also looking at how to repair the little issues within the constituency and get everybody on one track. You're also thinking of all the people that you can call on to support you. See, people are very hesitant as the candidate for parliament on the ticket of the NDC. Some people might not engage you as completely as they could, but as MP for Tema Central now, it's
now everyone is coming through to
you.
But you spoke about white dress, and I like that because Christmas is coming, and we're doing an all white party, and I like that you're all white already. So I'm personally inviting you to the 3 all white party.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's not too far from your constituency to La Palm is in La Tema. After Beach Road up here.
Oh my God! I've never attended one of those. We've always wanted to.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean, right now, I think that I can delegate a few things to the team and say, but then the problem is, who are you going to leave behind? Who is not going to be on that table? Because I know that there are tables, categories.
Yes.
And, as Tema Central concerned, we must represent properly. But who am I leaving behind to do my work while I come and sit with some?
We'll figure it out. But yeah, so I'm Stone Boy, who's not also far from your constituency.
Oh, yeah.
And Boy, yes.
Oh, yeah. But we've been having fun with his songs, man. Yeah.
So all of them are official invites sent out to our MP for Tema Central.
Coming through. With pleasure.
We love it. Now, coming to something that you also mentioned, let me reverse to that, where you're talking about the people and then the plans you have.
Yeah.
What are some of the big plans you have for Tema Central?
Well, we're looking at TC Educare. This is a whole setup of grants, scholarships, and mentorships that are supposed to help guide educational paths. Because what I realized is that in Tema Central, where we are basically supposed to be inheriting a culture of work and employment, where in terms of our education, we're very disconnected from the industries. So unlike before, where you had the Maritime University, which was Nautical College, for example, which used to produce the best seamen, not only for our own star line, but across, and all of that. And so it made us the hub for skilled labor in that sector. And so you have an industrial city. Basically, you're looking at experts in industrial concerns or areas, but we don't have that. People are going to school and they're not employable by the industries, and the industries are not employing us either. So that disconnect in the relationship is what TC Educare wants to feed off. We want to, like I say, if the representative is not also a champion and an advocate for industry, nothing mandates them to plow back their dollars back into, the community. So we want to deal with that and make them take up the responsibility of paying or picking up a tab for tailored education, which can assure them, employable workers. And so that's one of the gaps that we need to fill. Also is engaging the government in the revival of industry, or putting meaning into the whole industrial hub issue, and that should provide us with some jobs. But beyond that, also is taking advantage of other programs, because we need to be able to export labor. I mean, we can all feed in and off Tema Central at this point, where some of the investments we need to make are to make our youth, the best skilled workforce, for the rest of the country as well. We're looking at our infrastructure, because the social infrastructure right now can neither support industry appropriately or the residents. If you look at the General Hospital, for example, no serious company will consider citing a serious industry there right now, because we can't deal with the injured. Yeah, exactly. Having even malaria as a trial for us. So advocating for things and lobbying for things like this are not necessarily just because of residents. By the way, we have an aging population along with the aging infrastructure. Most of our residents now are retired. They have health challenges and issues, and so the community is no longer viable to support young workers and young families. So we have a lot of our people moving to the outskirts, community 25, and that's a problem, because then the community, the social, the social life is dying. Meanwhile, this is the harbor city, and so the harbor is around community 1, but basically you start fun from 4, 7, 8, and 9, and so we've lost the income, because we're no longer vibrant enough to attract, the port as services. So there are all of these things that we're looking at for employment, and also to revive the social economy, and like I said, the infrastructure. But under the 24-hour economy, you can't run a 24-hour economy without making investments in security, like, thank you, the transport, the social infrastructure, and all of that. So for me, that's a good opportunity. However, if we don't advocate or plug into it, it will happen without involvement. So we're looking at a lot of local content by rights. There is that. We also have the TC Connect, which is a platform to connect skilled labor with clients. So because we've moved, we're getting more impersonal as a community. We started off as a very connected community. Everybody knew everybody, but now, because the demographics are changing and there's a lot of influx of they're not, I wouldn't describe them as outsiders, but that's how they appear. We need to integrate them in, but also is to be able to connect the rest of us in there with the skilled labor. And so that's another employment chain that we're trying to build. We also have a problem with education. We used to have the best schools, but the public schools are in very poor conditions right now. But that's also something that we can fix with corporate social responsibility. So there's the redevelopment that is essential right now, especially our sewage. The sewer lines are aged. They're no longer fit for purpose. They've expired their, their relevance. But this is a project also that was started under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. So we're thinking as a matter of urgency to revive that project and complete it. It's a World Bank, Ghana government project that should be able to take off. So there are quite a few things, and and we're looking forward to be able to implement all those. But beyond that, also, one of the things that made Tema very attractive, and why, maybe you would encounter those of us who grew up there and have lived there for a long time, we come off with this kind of superior air. Please forgive us. But it's because we grew up in an environment where, within every few lanes of houses, you had very nicely maintained recreational areas. And so we grew up on swings and park-like areas, just like in Abruchi, and we felt like there was hardly anywhere else in Ghana that had that. Yeah, most of these spaces have been encroached upon. Most of them are derelict. Like I said, encroached upon. Some of them have been sold off. And so we're running an accelerated program to reclaim the spaces. There's not really much to do. It's just about taking responsibility, because if you weed them off and putting basic, infrastructure, it should be able, and we started that already, under my program that I'm running. We're also trying to attach homework centers around there, equipped with facilities for research and all of that, so that we attract the teachers after work to use the facilities and in turn provide supervision for our kids. Because the way that Tema Central is now, and if you consider the need for parents to actively work, you can't afford for your children to go too far away. We weren't designed for that. Within the communities, there have to be spaces that are walking distance from your home or even next door, where kids can spend productive play and learning time. So we're doing the small homework centers within, the areas like that. Everybody say, why don't you build a library? I mean, today everything is virtual. I mean, why do we have to go to some big building
to read when you can actually get
exactly?
access to it?
And then, how's your mother gonna call you to come and eat and go back? Or how's she even gonna make sure that that's where you are? You have to think about all of these things, and we decide to do it small and concentrated within our neighborhoods. And incidentally, because of our layout, it's very possible for us to do so. These are low-hanging fruits that we want to engage the community. A lot of people are able to, but they need to be encouraged to direct their resources in the right way, and that's what I'm intending to do.
I love it. Now, I'm actually quite excited about it. And I have family in Tema, so my mom's side, a lot of them, when they came to Accra, moved to Tema. So I always used to spend Christmases, go for events in Tema. So Tema feels like my second home. So I'm actually really excited that you have very progressive plans for Tema and Tema Central in particular. So this is very exciting to know. But going on to our Facebook stream, and a lot of your supporters are coming through. We have so much love. Mark Are Adu says, AJ, you are talking to my MP right now. I am Mark Are Adu. How happy I am. Letitia says, congratulations, Honorable. To God be the glory. I'm happy for you. Boha Idrisu says, Ebi, a very big dream come true. Congratulations. Babatunde says, Honorable Ebi Bright, woman king of Tema Central. Monica says, latest MP for Tema Central. Congratulations, dear. Babatunde says, our struggle all this month has paid off. We now have an MP who has the constituency at heart. Congratulations, Honorable Ebi Bright. Simon says, my humble Ebi for Tema Central is speaking wisdom. We fought hard for the victory. We shall serve Tema Central better from now on. May God guide your steps to your new one. Uma says, the woman king, we are proud of you, Honorable Ebi Bright. So many messages, honestly. Thomas says, I'm proud I supported her. Jifa Afi says, go, my MP select. Yahaya says, Ebi Bright, you are the member of parliament elect for good people of Tema Central. Election is one at the police station. Well, true that. And so many. We'll get into all your messages, and please keep sending it in. You can go onto our Facebook stream or send it via our WhatsApp number 0532 300 927. Now let me bring an interesting topic in. Oh my God, time is running out. But time runs when you're having so much fun.
That's what happens when I listen to you. I'm like, oh my God, her voice.
Oh my goodness. No, but I'm enjoying the conversation a little too much. On the issue of a lot of members of the arts have gone into parliament this year, more than I think any other year. Do you expect some collaboration amongst them? We've had some who've also publicly come out to say that they're not going to parliament for the arts or have no interest of promoting the arts while in parliament. They're there because a particular constituency has sent them to parliament. Are you of that view? And if the opportunity came to maybe advance policy direction that would help the arts, is it something that you would champion?
Okay, number one, I don't agree with them, and I'm going to pursue them. So they must be on notice. We will lobby them and force them to do their duty.
We love that.
Number two, it's not if the opportunity comes. You have to create the opportunity. You see, Parliament is not just a collective of individual interests. It is primarily the national interests. So you go to Parliament and you must look out for the national direction. So policies, I mean, when we sit down and debate taxes, it's not about people in Tema Central. It's about people across the whole country. If we're looking at, incentives for businesses, I mean, of course, it favors Tema Central more. But even if I say it favors Tema Central, for the sake of the whole nation. So if we go and discuss a budget and allocate a certain amount for road construction, it is for the nation, and that is your job in Parliament. And then you're supposed to be able to lobby and engage language that puts forth things that benefit your constituency as well. And then you're supposed to manage the resources that are allocated, like the common fund and the rest, to projects that that satisfy your constituents. And like I said, lobby opportunities and quotas and stuff to bring back home. But the idea that you're going to Parliament for your constituents is not satisfactory to your responsibilities. And I also think that that thinking does not do the culture, arts, and tourism space, it doesn't do us justice. We're the number 2 earner, and there's a challenge to put us at number 1. And so, AJ, essentially, this person is saying that they're not going to Parliament because of you. But you see, especially for those of us that are coming from this background, it's disappointing because what you have is the benefit of understanding the sector. So who should speak for it?
True.
If you don't speak up for this sector, you're not speaking up for Ghana because it's a potential number 1 employer. I mean, we could have potentially 3 million jobs, new jobs. And the number of jobs in this sector is overwhelming. I mean, there's radio, there's TV, there's music, there's film, there's dance, there's the whole garment in fashion. There's beads, there's visual arts, there's theater, there's architecture. The whole tourism economy, hotels, and all of these are part of the ecosystem. And basically, that's what your country is about.
That's true.
You understand, even food, everything feeds into this. So I think that they've not engaged a full appreciation of the sector. And that's where it's disappointing, because I find that in our sector, unfortunately, a lot of us are concerned with the opportunities that it provides for personal advancement and the celebrity. So you feel that you can be in this sector and become a star. But you forget that there's a whole ecosystem, there's a whole space that if we don't elevate, cannot sustain you. But also as we phase out or fade out, because don't forget, a lot of people have come before us. True. And they earned very little compared with the kind of money people are earning today in the industry. If we don't do our responsibility to make this a worthy career path, we would steadily lose our respect. Why are we competing unfairly with Nigerians and saying that they have more relevance than we do? There was investment and respect made into that industry for Nigerians very deliberately. And then here we sit in Ghana, when we have the opportunity, we try and diminish the importance. As far as I'm concerned, this is the most important sector in the country. We're only second currently to the combined strength of agriculture and the extractives combined. Wow. And so depending on how we engage this space, collectively, by our shared numbers and our output, we could even overtake that as the first earner for the nation. So I'm calling upon them to revise their thinking. In any way, I intend to be a force that moves, through
people
to
around,
them. Primarily, before we even look at anybody else, they are the ones that have to advocate for this sector.
I like
and
that.
So don't lose hope. Don't believe what is said. Maybe it's just to reduce your expectations, but I think they should raise your expectations so that you actually decide what it is that you're going to push us to deliver. But having said that, that is not our primary responsibility. But I also believe that if it becomes a primary responsibility, we'll be doing Ghana a lot more justice.
I love that. Now, so many messages, literally close to 100. Mario says, very well spoken. Bright Nutako says, yeah, Assam 12 our time. Anthony says, wow, congrats, man. Nanaya says, I cherish my MP-elect Ebi Bright so much for her fortitude and sense of seeing everyone live a meaningful life in the Tema Central constituency. Margaret says, go higher, woman king. Eric says, Tema has new hard-working MP. Tema West and Central won't disappoint. Osei Jemfi says, please send my regards and congrats ahead. Tell her this is Jemfi and Tema. Hayford Kumi says, Honorable Ebi Bright, congratulations to you. You fought a courageous and positive fight for your constituents. We in the NDC are so proud of you, your courage and your intelligence. So keep it up. You were born to win, indeed. Elections are one of the polling stations. You are a duly elected MP for Tema Central. May God guide your ways. Francis says, Honorable Ayiko. Bismarck says, I am Bismarck watching you live from Tema Central Committee 12. Please add Honorable to my... Hey, sorry. Let me do it right. Please add Honorable to my MP's name. We are building Tema Central together. Sorry, I am here with Honorable Ebi Bright, MP elect for Tema Central. But man, time flies when you're having so much fun, and that's how we are bringing the conversation to an end. We have to have you again. Once you're duly elected MP, we'll love to check in with you and see how we can promote, because I'm really interested in the educare. I think the potential, and I know it was part of the national manifesto of apprenticeship, because I think it's an easy way for people to be able to learn the skills they need and be employable at the same time. And I'm excited this, amongst others, is part of the educare, and how exciting it will be for people to be able to have the industries partake in helping make people employable in the constituency and the direct jobs that's going to create. So congratulations to you. We love the ideas. We love how you're making us proud, honestly. And final words, what do you want your legacy to be before?
I don't even want to know all the people that I've affected, because just your work changes the landscape. I want us to move to a point where it's not personal, and Ghanaians need to understand that, so that we have more freedom in merit-based service. And that's the legacy that I want to leave. I want to justify this opportunity, especially for Tema Central. We could have fought in a place with less resistance, but if you fight this hard to get something, you must justify it. I want the policies that we engage at this time to outlive us, or to be improved into stronger forms that outlive us. I want to I want to disengage leadership from the person and put it on the output. So it's interesting to be the person at the center of this, but I want my performance to shatter the glass ceiling for a lot of other people, to encourage them. I mean, strength is very possible. You just have to be willing to pay the price for it, like everything. And
It's good.
I'm just very subdued, really. Especially after you've read all of that. It's a lot of responsibility. And so I'm praying that the same way people say, you fought hard to get this mandate, that they say you fought hard to get the programs moving. You fought hard to bequeath this legacy. That will be the legacy.
I love that. And even more messages are coming. Dogbev, Empress, Baini, Jifa, Gladys.
I hope I get the chance to say hello to everybody.
Honestly, they think you've made us all proud, to be honest. So a big thank you to you. Congratulations again. And we look forward to seeing that all whites.
Yes, but let me use this opportunity to say thanks to all those who have stood by me through all of this, and all the sacrifices that you've made. I mean, you don't get the chance to sit here and be, say, MP elect and tell your story, but I want to thank you, because this is your story as well. My constituency chairman and party comrades that have stood by me to get us here. I mean, people stood at the polling stations, to police our ballots, and all who stood 3 days later to make sure that the right thing was done. I want to thank the party for, however late, jumping into the fray to hold me up. And I'm looking forward to us delivering, credibly on everything, because a lot of what we will be able to achieve locally is also dependent on what we're achieving on the national level. So may God take care of all of us, grant us life, health, and wisdom and heart and love, patriotism, to put Ghana first all the time. I'll be putting Tema Central first and Ghana first, of course.
Thank you so much, Ebi. Honorable Ebi Bright.
Let me actually say, apparently it is Ebi Bright, the Honorable MP elect for Tema Central.
Thank you.
So apparently we don't have Honorable this. We have your name and then Honorable Member of Parliament for Tema Central.
So Ebi Bright, the Honorable MP elect of Tema Central.
Yes, thank you.
Now surely comes through the news, and of course we'll continue with more great programming right here on 3FM.
Even though I walk to the valley of death,